So some people really like that more. Alrighty. So everybody ready to go? Good stuff. So we just started the recording, but a lot of people were talking about their good time at the Art Supply Warehouse Mardi Gras shopping extravaganza. It can inspire having some nice materials to play around with. Yeah.
Who ended up going?
We got a few people around here. Yeah. Early mornings. Number 2 in line. 5:55. Impressive. On Friday.
What did you get in your bag?
Free bag.
All acrylic and samples of ins and
That's awesome. Good to hear.
I even got a free silver brush. Maybe because I spent $170. They threw in a little brush.
They're like, here you go. That's so cool. That's good.
What did you spend the 170 on? What kind of paint?
Just Holbein paint.
Holbein paints.
Holbein paint.
Quality, shiny paints. They have these specific sets for spring and
autumn colors.
Yeah.
They're colors I've never heard of. They have fancy names.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I just buy one at a time. I'm like, I always go like in the big square, where they have a whole bunch of paints, and I'm like, what is that? That's pretty. I'm gonna just get that one, squeeze that in my little 16.
They were big, and then so it came out to like $7 each, and I thought that was pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Holbein.
Yeah.
Is it really?
No, it's
gouache.
gouache. Yeah, but yeah, Holbein also has watercolors too. So.
I have plenty water.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you.
I don't need any more.
Yeah.
And I have plenty of acrylics too.
There you go. All right. So today we're gonna be doing some drawing of flowers, and I just kind of wanted to highlight. Before we start, anything else you're wanting to announce art-wise? Been working on?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I went to the festival thing that's out at the Art Supply Warehouse, and they did a demo. Like this one guy invested. It was his own company. And he came from Alphaciato, and he had these. They're called LOL, and they're alcohol markers. And then he has his own paper, so it's like so smooth. And I tried that, but I didn't want to pay his price, so I just got it at a different brand online. I mean, they're not as good, but his stuff is so expensive. But I mean, they're fun. The alcohol markers are really.
Yeah. It's dangerous stuff, shopping. It's a deep rabbit hole. Sadly,
You need to leave your credit cards.
I know it makes you want to create art, but you're not creating art when you're doing it. So, but it's definitely when you get home and you're excited to work with something, that's pretty fun.
I didn't want to I wanted the alcohol markers, but I didn't want to pay the price, so I just couldn't get them off my mind, so I bought it. With somewhere else. But what would you say the difference between a regular marker and an alcohol-based marker?
So alcohol-based marker, it's kind of like watercolors in a way, except it dries much quicker. It's really pretty. You don't have to really think about mixing colors, so that's nice. It's not like watercolors, and then there's a lot of very specific and cool colors you can use, and it's mostly made for people who are doing like concept designs of like cars, furniture, objects like that, where it's like really they just want to get that shadow and stuff. But people sometimes use it with like pastels, like chalky pastels as well, inks. So yeah, you can definitely check out how some people use it. There's also blending alcohol markers where it just has just the alcohol and I can blend the colors. So it's just good fun to draw with. Yeah. So I don't have too much practice in that, but yeah.
I mean, like the more expensive stuff is so much better, but I just like, $80, $90.
Yeah, there's some like Blick brand alcohol markers that I've used. I love those. Those are super fun. I've used some off-brand stuff. I mean, the only thing with off-brand stuff is like the colors are like really like too bold. Like so it's like if you want to get those like kind of more washy watercolor, just nice transparent colors that you want, you're gonna want to spend more for those, or look for like Japanese brands. They also make really good markers too. But yeah, can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. I mean, I've used some. Yeah, the higher quality ones also they don't fade as much, but they all still kind of fade. So, but the nicer ones fade less. So, anywho, cool, super fun. Well, so today we're gonna be doing some flower painting here. Um, hmm. And I've been trying. I kind of want to do something fun with painting, so maybe we'll do that after. Should we do the fun thing first, or should we do the fun thing in the middle?
We'll wait for the fun.
We'll wait for the fun thing. Okay, cool. We're just gonna get some smeary paints just to kind of warm up later on, making some cool little smears. I've seen some artists do. So we're just gonna kind of work with some lines today. So get out your colored pencils. You could also use markers or pencils, but we're just gonna be kind of working with a single color. Doesn't matter what color. I'm choosing something darker, but I just like colors.
Like how many different colors do you want to have out? Like, what do you-
Just one or two. You know what? Let's go for two colors or two tones. If you're using pencil, we'll just use one. A dark color. Anything darker than orange, basically. So I'm using blue. I like blues. Deep red will be okay. Black. Yeah, you could use like a deeper green. You could use a green. I don't care. I just like having color on my page instead of black.
I thought we're not drawing a cactus.
We are. We're just using random colors, just for fun. Yeah. So we're gonna kind of look at the saguaro cactus when it's blooming. They are some cartoony looking flowers, but they're so pretty. Yeah.
It's a barrel cactus. That's not a barrel.
It is like a barrel cactus. You can see full cactus here.
It's not barrel.
Yeah. It's a saguaro cactus. There it is. Gosh, they look like flower hats.
Have you been to the
They're
national
so
park?
pretty.
Have you
Oh
done
yes,
this?
we definitely want to do this one here.
Have you ever been to Saguaro National Park? Oh,
No.
it's amazing.
Oh, you've seen it in person?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Where's that at?
Saguaro is in Arizona, I believe.
Our school in Tucson, so.
Oh.
They're beautiful.
Yeah. So super cool. Well, this is crazy. This looks like AI. I'm worried about AI. Okay. Ooh. Okay. So kind of looking at this is a different plant, I think. Let's not get mixed up. All right, cool. Of course, the birds there, they're the ones that kind of germinate the seeds. They eat the fruit after it's all ripe. When they get all ripe, they get all this like crazy red in there. So this is after they're like what's the word? Fruit, when they bear fruit. So they have like a whole life cycle and they kind of change pretty dramatically in these big red looking things. is when they seed, and those birds will eat them and fly around, poop all those seeds out, and create more of those flowers. They're there. See that?
That's beautiful.
Huh?
To make a jam out of.
Yeah. Ooh, is it any good?
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So we'll kind of start. We'll kind of draw every kind of mode of the flower. So we'll start off things, and we're gonna really focus on the form here. Let's see. Where's I want to? I have that one picture I saw. This one. This is perfect. So we're gonna start things off with these little boys here. Oh, and for those at home, this is we're looking at these things here. Okay, let me just. Sorry. Oh my gosh, what's going on? Hold on. This is bugging out. I can't see anything. Oh, here. Here we are. Okay, sure. No, this one here. There we go. There we go. So you can see what I'm doing, and also the flower. Come on. I'm sorry. Here we go. Okay, cool. And we don't need that. We don't need this. All right, cool. So we're gonna kind of do. I think there's gonna be like 3 or 4 different variations of flowers here. So when I'm drawing, when you draw flowers, it's important to see the form. So I don't know. Some people weren't here for the day that we drew. Yeah, the day that we drew cylinders and things. So I'm sorry. Okay, cool. Try to get a better view of it. Can you guys see that? All right, cool. So, so when you're drawing things that have a cylinder or a ball to it, you kind of want to start things off loose, and you never want to stick your hand to the page and never move it. I say that there's like 2 types of drawing. There's this free motion drawing where you're using your whole arm, you're really moving a lot of your elbow here. And then there's other drawing where you're just moving your hand. And you can always move your paper around too. And you can always hold your pencil out to make wider strokes. So kind of think about that as you're drawing and how big you want to work here. I'm probably gonna have 2 flowers here, so I'll probably split this up in 2. But I'm gonna have the main bulb here first. So when you're working with something organic that's kind of at a curve here, I like to draw that line that I kind of see in the center here. And I'm just gonna focus on this one little plant here. So I'm gonna draw that line in there. And start off with little to no pressure. So no matter what you're using, pencil, pen, start with light pressure or a light color. So I'm drawing that kind of skeleton in there. Maybe it's kind of got a bit more of a lean to it. There. And then, then I'm going to kind of, I see a very obvious circle here. Very spherical thing going on here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Big circle. And then as I go down, maybe I'll kind of look for some kind of oval ending over here. But I can kind of draw that oval in there. And since it's just kind of gradually growing up and out, it's not really curving or anything crazy. So that's all you kind of need to worry about. And I just kind of connect the dots here. And what's kind of good to do is to work with kind of straight lines here. You have more control with straight lines than you do with curvy lines. And you could add more curves later on. Yeah. Now, when I'm measuring this, so I can kind of start measuring here, you know, how big are some of these little indentation stuff is. So maybe I'll kind of look halfway in so I can kind of gauge it just for the halfway point. And I can see how big this is. And I can kind of compare some of these measurements here. So,
Oh, I think you're leaking. Oh, okay. Oh,
uh-oh, it's got a hole. Do you want a new cup? Here, you can use one of mine.
raising slot there.
All right. So I kind of like to draw some lines here for where I want some of those peaks to be. Yeah, go ahead. You can grab one of these. Yeah. All right. And I see a peak happening there and there. And sometimes I kind of like to try to find some angles here, kind of where they kind of meet up here. So I see when I'm putting these lines and these dots in there, I'm kind of adding this line in there. So I see that angle. And I put like a dot every time I see kind of one of those peaks in there. All right. Is this making sense? Okay. And then there's some peaks over here. So I'm looking at the angles between here. Kind of put that line of angle there, and I can kind of put the dots where I see kind of the tips of those, each of these plants here. And I see that there's a line here, right here. There we go. Now I can really see it. Because things kind of grow in spirals. They kind of do. So I kind of see that line there. So I'm going to put some peaks in there, peak here. When I'm saying peaks, I mean like the very tips of each of these plants here. Okay. Is that Frontier or is that Aerosmith? I get those.
Oh, that's Guns N' Roses.
Guns N'
Oh,
Roses. Nice.
Not really sweet though.
All right. So I got that line going.
Definitions of sweet.
You know, and
All right. Cool.
it's that artist attitude.
All right. Cool. So now I have like all these peaks here where I know the plants are going to be in there. And I know that this is going to be like a nice, like kind of cylinder, right? And when there's a cylinder, things kind of follow around the cylinder in all sorts of different ways. So I'm going to kind of remember that. And I'm just going to start kind of growing some of these boys out real light. Starting the bottom here. There we go. And so I'm just going to kind of meet these peaks out here. And anytime that I kind of bump into the next one here, so I'll start growing this little part there. Yeah. All right. So I just kind of, just like shingles, I'm kind of working my way up. And every time I have a new kind of layer here, usually starting in the middle here. All right, here we go. Cool, cool. Cool. And we're just kind of meeting our pieces of our plant there as we go up here. All right, cool. So I think there's gonna be one about right there. So you can see I started with that main general shape of that sphere, cylinders, and then I worked on top of that, trying to find those extra little bits of plants kind of growing out in between and overlapping each other. And each of these layers, you know, they're like kind of overlapping each other. So anytime that they're overlapping, you want to start with the one underneath it. That's how I draw. And the same is true. Well, it's actually kind of the opposite when you're painting. When you're painting, you want to start at the top and then paint the stuff overlapping the next. Because with painting, you can be opaque. Drawing, you really can't be. All right, over here, things are getting flatter, so there's going to be less round towards the tip. All right. And as I get towards the top, I'm going to keep things really light. There we go. And there we go. Cool. All right. How's that working for you guys? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Cool. Mm. All right, cool. Now, some things you can do here. There's a thing called contact shadows. Have I talked about contact shadows?
Yeah, darker, right?
Yes, yes. Anyone? Yes. Who wants to tell me what a contact shadow is? Yeah.
Oh, I meant, you thought you wanted me,
Oh.
no.
Okay. Okay.
Two items meet.
Right.
They form a, where they contact each other, there's a shadow.
That's right. That's right. Even though there might be no sun in sight, everything might be hyper diffused. There's no definitive shadows. You will always see those contact shadows. And contact shadows, all they are these valleys, miniature valleys that happen like our hands or in our eyes of these very sharp folds where no light can get into there, because in reality there's no line here. This is just deep, deep, deep shadow in this little valley that's in my hand. And we see this with the cactus, huh?
On the flower there.
Exactly. So you can see it in this flower towards the base especially, because just like our fingers, you can kind of see those contact shadows happening here. But as you get up higher, they're becoming more flush and you're seeing less contact shadows. There's almost none up here. That's because they're not as deep of a valley. So I'm going to try to show that in my sketch here. I'm going to try to show a bit more shadow, contact shadow kind of diffuse out towards the bottom. And as I get my way towards the top, I'm going to have less of that up here. So I kind of start with kind of that point where that's contacting there. And I just put that shadow in towards the edges where that valley is getting deeper and deeper. Just think of them really as tiny little valleys. It's a good way to think about it. And that's going to make your cactus feel a little more three-dimensional there. So that's going to be the deepest valley. That's the deepest point in the valley. So I'm going to kind of add some real light. Now when I'm sketching things in, I try to keep my lines really close together so that you don't see the lines. What you don't want to do is something like this, because you can see those lines. Or some, and how you move your brush or your pencil around. I mean, you could do really light drawings of like little circles here. That might create a little bit different of a feeling. But if you did it close enough and light enough together, especially on this rougher paper, you don't really see those lines too much. It's pretty forgiving paper, really. So let's go ahead and do that a bit. Pay attention to those valleys. And we'll just focus on those contact shadows. We won't focus on the overall shadow. If we wanted to, we could say, I only see the highlight on this plant only on the very top here. And everything else is in shadow. And we could do that. But I'm just going to focus on, hello, welcome. If you want, you can take a seat anywhere. Yeah. Yeah, of course. All right. So just kind of focusing on those contact shadows, less over here. This is a good way to kind of get started here. All right. All right. Cool. So I'm just kind of putting more pressure down as it gets deeper in the valley. How you guys doing? So. I'm putting barely any pressure on these higher ones here. All right. Cool. maybe I'll add little details like where like the plants are kind of dying here. I mean, like the tips of those. I don't know what I would call these. Look like nails or something. Nodules. Yeah, is it actually?
I don't know.
Oh,
it
okay.
sounded good to me.
It'd be great if we had a plant scientist in this class. Yeah,
I think they're called gnomes, are they not?
I think
Gnomes?
so. I think so. You know, we're artists. Good to research this stuff though.
Oh, they're called joints. Oh,
Joints.
wait,
What?
oh, nodes on a cactus are the critical junction points.
Ah.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
And the areoles are the small fishes, like buns protruding.
I see. Cool. All right. All right, how you guys doing? You ready to move on to the next flower? Want some more time? Huh? Yeah. More time or? Here, let's check this out.
There's a bee.
Oh, I was worried. I was like, in real life?
Too many petals on this.
Oh, yes, so good. Are you interested in taking the class? Yeah, sure. Yeah. I'll give you a little link for the syllabus and materials. Yeah. Are you good with your phone? I'll show you a QR code for the syllabus. All right, guys. So let's go ahead. Should we take a quick break and then we'll do the next two flowers?
It looks like an artichoke.
An artichoke?
Mine looks like an asparagus.
I wonder if they're related.
Asparagus tip.
It does. It does. And nature repeats itself for sure. Okay. So or I'll let you guys work on this for like another like 10 more minutes, and then I'm gonna help you out.
When you say another flower, do you mean another one that's on?
Yeah. So we'll do a different flower in each stage. So we'll do like 3 flowers or so.
Because I would call these buds, like maybe, like a flower bud before those buds.
Yeah.
You're not gonna do those?
Yeah, we will. Yeah, that's the next one. So I'm just doing like each stage individually. So, alrighty. There it is. So here we go. Okay, so this is the syllabus. If you want to scan it. Oh, use your phone. It's a picture. Okay, I can do it here. Yeah, but just kind of showing you what we do in the class. We'll have. Oh! I just realized. I'm sorry.
Bring it back.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll do this.
Did you take a picture of the syllabus? Did you take a picture of that?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Can I ask? My phone's dead.
Oh.
Would you mind sending me that?
But I don't know if I'm like-
Well, it's dead.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
so-
good.
Yeah, I forgot to charge it.
Okay. Okay.
I can.
Yeah.
You're signed up for the class, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can send you an email.
Okay.
Yeah. Give me one
Wanted
sec.
a picture of the cactus and
Well,
your
Hey. All right, sorry, it's back. It's back. So sometimes when you're painting or drawing, you want to single things out, and that's what we're kind of practicing here with the drawing, and just kind of separating everything except for that one subject. So this is kind of some botanical art that we're doing. So we're going to be just kind of separating this one flower out from this big pile of a bunch of other flowers. And I'm just going to I'm going to be looking at this here. So when we're drawing this flower here, it's good to kind of think about the shape of it all together. So you can kind of draw some of these straight lines here. Kind of draw that kind of silhouette, just some straight lines here, kind of carving it out. So when I'm looking for angles, I kind of hold up my pencil to the actual flower. So if you hold up your pencil, you can kind of see, oh, I can get this angle here, and that's there. Get that angle there, and that's there, and that angle there. So you can kind of lift up your pencil. Let's try it out. All right. Try to see that angle and kind of connect some dots here. And try to do this in the least amount of straight lines. All right. Cool. Cool. And I'm going to do that and now I can kind of work in that main flower here. So I can kind of carve out this area here with the straight lines as well. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. This is another way of doing things. It's also just a good old-fashioned oval. But we're just trying to capture some of those weird little shapes and stuff. Now, let's see here. Now let's try measuring how wide this opening of the flower is, so that we know how it fits in there. Is our opening going to be this big? Is it going to be this big? Is it going to be this big? Well, we can check. So I can hold up my pencil, all right, and I'm going to use my thumb as a measuring stick here. So my thumb will basically mark how big or how how wide or how tall, and you can kind of use this to measure something and compare it to other things. So like if I was measuring this is this tall versus 1, 2, 3 measurements tall. So this is 3 measurements tall versus per width. So I could do that same thing with the top of the flower here. So I can hold out my pencil, use one eyeball, and keep your hand straight. And you can measure that top part of the flower there. And then I can compare that flower, that yellow part of the flower, to the rest of the flower, and I can see that it's almost exactly half the width if I was just to take that measurement and move it over. So basically, so I can take half of this measurement here. So it's about, so I took that measurement of the thing in the middle, it's about that big, and I compared it to how wide it is. And it's almost perfectly halfway. So I kind of mark those 2 little dots there. Can have that be an oval in there. Yeah. Here we go. All right, and then on the inside here, I can also measure that out. And I can see that this is the same width as this stem here. So I can kind of drop down and kind of see what's kind of overlapping here and kind of starting off here and here. And kind of draw that shape there. There we go. Just gonna get.
We're on the side screwing us up.
I know, yeah. So you kind of have to ignore it in a way, because your drawing is gonna be better than reality.
Just a question. I
Yeah.
thought it on one class, like there's some artists, like the pictures look perfect, but they basically copy it directly, like they put the,
Grids.
no,
Or-
I mean, I've seen people do that too, but they actually just take a piece of tracing paper,
Yeah.
and they put like
Uh-huh.
pencil graphite all over it, and
Yeah.
they trace out the lines of
Uh-huh.
the picture. Will they ever get to be better artists by drawing from doing it like that, or?
I would argue no. I think there's certain things you can get better with tracing stuff. You could definitely tracing like images to play around with color theory, but to purely practice drawing forms like spheres, cylinders, cubes, having that knowledge and being able to use that drawing real life things is is key. And anytime that you have those grids, you can use these tools to enhance your drawings. And so when other professional artists like Norman Rockwell, he would use grids, but he was using all of these forms that he was practicing over and over again in different ways, into his paintings. And a lot of other artists have done that too.
But just like straight copying, like just
Yeah.
taking over, what would they learn more from? Like what they,
Definitely, you would be learning more from kind of doing it like this.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because I mean, what if they want to make it bigger or smaller, or
exactly.
they want to just paint something?
Right.
better?
Yeah, and a lot of artists will start this way, and then if they want to blow it up really large, then they do grids. But they always start off with this. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna get into these flowers here. So, kind of, we have that main shape of the flowers here, and nothing hurts, but I'm gonna kind of grid things off like section by section here. So like I kind of have this group of 3 petals here, and I can kind of group that off in this area. So there's going to be 3 petals here, and and these petals are kind of like these circles here. And again, we can kind of carve those in with straight lines if you want. And I'm just going to keep it in that area here. Always kind of starting in the center, working your way out. And then this, of course, the center part is going to be kind of overlapping here. And, you can kind of change your lines up depending on what you're drawing here. Now, these have some pretty hard edges here. But the main center pollen area, maybe I could just kind of use some dots or something. But I'm still kind of thinking them as kind of these tubes in a way. So, kind of breaking up my lines. Don't really need to do hard lines there. But start off with those hard lines, and then I kind of draw those. There we go. There we go. Just like we said about those contact shadows, this is basically a big contact shadow. Big valley. Cool. I can work on this group of flowers here because it kind of all blends together. They're all so close together. And then I can kind of pay attention to kind of through this angle that I drew here, because I know that's kind of the angle that they go here. I can kind of carve my way opposite. Instead of focusing on the outside petals, the inside petals going out, I could be focusing on the outside air, the negative space of what those petal shapes are doing right here. So I see a big petal kind of going out here. There we go. I see that kind of line of shadow here. So the shadow here is more of a character than the actual petals are. So I'm going to let that stand out more. And maybe there's real light lines here. Yeah, cool. I don't know what that thing is. Is there a butterfly or a bee on there?
That's a bee.
Is it a bee?
It looks like, I think it's a bee, yeah, and it looks like it's.
I'm just gonna ignore it. I'm just not gonna have it in there. So then I'm gonna work on this next section here. So this kind of pokes out here. I got a big old petal poking out there.
You know what, I don't even think it's big, if you know, it's really big. Looks like on the one side, there's like something moving fast.
Yeah, it could just be like some petal or something,
Yeah.
or butterfly maybe. I don't know.
But there's no wings.
Yeah. But I'm just kind of working like group by group, looking at the shape of the shadows and then the shape of the petals coming off. From each of the petals here. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay, cool. All right. All right. And I'm not really seeing too much of those actual strips of, those nodules, or what do we call them?
No.
Nodes. but I am seeing the shapes of the shadows here. Kind of draw that in. Shapes of the shadow here with a little bump. And maybe a shape of the shadow here from another flower. And I could just kind of shade some of that in. Usually when I'm shading, I kind of like to work with what my hand naturally does. But you can see that kind of. Yeah. And maybe real lightly, I can kind of add in some really light kind of shapes and shadows of these. There we go. Something cool you can do, a bit of style. So what some artists will do is they'll outline on the outside with like a thicker line, more pressure, just on the very outside. It's very graphic looking. I saw a bunch of like old cartoon artists, very turn of the century artists, kind of doing this, comic artists. Really talented artist, Winsor McKay. He does this. I mean, Winsor McKay, he's got some messed up characters I don't like, but his drawings and illustrations are just really cool.
Oh, wow.
Oh gosh, come on, give me a real picture. Please, let me see it up close. Yeah. Some of his images have it. You see it. Maybe not in this one.
The colors though, like are beautiful.
Oh yeah. This is crazy. This is back when newspapers had full-on illustrations covering entire pages. Bring it back, but
Yeah.
maybe it's not Winsor McKay. I'm thinking of somebody did it. I thought I saw Winsor McKay do it. Oh yeah, you can see it here. Yeah. Where he just there's like real thin lines on the inside and thicker on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some more so. I mean, he's doing it very sparingly. It's pretty cool.
They do that a lot with children's books too, right?
Yeah. Very, very illustrative. Really cool artist. And he loves using perspective.
Wow.
All right, where are we at?
He has that lady like almost like in a black robe.
Mm-hmm.
In a black robe. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So maybe I'll just bring in a bit of this thicker outside line. Very graphic, very not at all set in reality, but you know, you can use that line to kind of have it be more of a, you know, botanical kind of study here. Doing studies like these of just random flowers throughout their lifespan, you know, you can learn a lot, and you can be inspired by it too, just to see, you know, how much they change. So, and I putting more pressure down in here. Usually, those edges between what happens in the light and what happens in the shadow, that's what tricks our brain to see texture. And out of everything, that's the place that you should spend the most amount of time getting some interesting textures going now. Now you can get interesting textures through really experimental things, but mostly it's you playing around with your paint like a child. That's how you find texture. Is in your free time, scribble, paint, splatter your paint, damage your paper. See what happens when you take those materials to the extreme. That's how you can find those interesting kind of textures. We'll play around with that today. But that's kind of, like basically this dot 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 thing that could have started with somebody going dot 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 dot. But that makes it good and interesting thing. So in your free time, you don't always have to be doing studies like these. Those playful, childish kind of drawings can be just as important in your studies as botanical studies like this is. But yeah, that moment where it's that light and that shadow. That's what I'm really focusing on. I'm not really gonna fill this whole area up with dots. Maybe a few dots here and there, so that I can get the idea. Maybe there's some more in there, but basically that line between light and shadow, that's where I'm putting my focus in on. That's the truth for painting as well.
Isn't it almost as 3D as that?
Yeah,
Like it's coming out of the paper. Oh.
yeah. I mean, you could do that also, with some artists. What they'll do is, you might have a really light subject like this one here. And what some people will do is they'll just get some graphics shape here in the background or something, and they'll just make it really dark. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a specific shadow of it. It doesn't have to be this color either. It could be anything. But kind of having this kind of graphic kind of thing behind stuff, kind of push it out. This is also an idea of kind of contrast here. It's the same idea that we're doing in here, where you're kind of getting some shadows behind each of these little nodes here. What makes this and this feel 3D? It's not the lines, but it's the shadows behind the lines. And then this is brighter, and then that's darker. This is brighter, and that's darker. Yeah. So it's kind of important to, when you draw that one shape in there, to stick to it, not just to kind of go bop, 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 bop. I mean, if you're drawing 100 of these, then you can go bop, 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 bop. But but if you're just drawing a few and you want it to be a very specific study of what you're looking at here, then it's good to kind of hone in on those actual shapes. Alrighty. Should we go one more flower?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, we got the fruit. Okay, so we either got, so they fruit, so they turn this bright red, and they make this big weird looking thing. Wow, look at that. Oh gosh, we're gonna draw that. This should be our last drawing, I think. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So it fruits like this, and then it opens up. Here, I'm going to show it online so people can see it. So it fruits like this, and then it opens, and that's when all the birds and people will cut it open and eat it. Look at this. It looks like something straight out of Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, yeah. I keep showing anime.
Yeah. 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 They're not very pretty, so it's hard to find pictures of these because they look kind of like ripped apart and eaten. They're not very pretty, not like the white flowers are.
Can people eat those, or is it?
Yeah, she said that they make jam out of them.
Make a jam out of it.
And cactus candy.
Oh,
Cactus candy.
Yeah, they make candy.
how do you get a tip from the birds, Jim?
So it just opens. And then the birds will eat the seeds. They love it too. Ooh. Ooh, that's a good picture of one.
Somebody just gave me some passion fruit, but it looks kind of like that, or reminds me of that.
Yeah,
And the uglier it is on the outside, the sweeter it is on the inside.
yeah. Okay, we'll draw this one. And then
Prickly pear.
is it a different thing? No,
That
it's
was like the fruit from a prickly pear.
Yeah, that is the prickly pear, but that's what's on top of a barrel cactus.
yeah, so this is prickly pear, isn't it?
Right.
Mhm.
So they look a little different.
Got a lot of prickly
Yeah.
pear candy.
Mm. I only know prickly pears from a Jungle Book.
We went to Arizona.
Oh, the
they
yellow and purple one, that's
had
gorgeous.
Zo. I bought boxes
Sounds
home.
like a.
All right, so we'll stick with this one here. Yeah. And then ideally I'd like to paint this one last. Or draw. Well. Yeah. We'll just do this one and then we'll do a painting. We'll have a break after this one. All right, sounds good? Okay. All right, so one more drawing. Okie dokie, let's do it. This one's real easy. Except for like the weird texture thing at the top, which I definitely want to do.
The dried up thing on top.
Yeah, I want to do that. We'll get a good detail of it after we draw the fruit of it. So I'm gonna take a whole page for this.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, you want to look at proportion, right? You know, this part right here, that's gonna take up half of your page if you're gonna do the whole page. Which, huh?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So I can kind of use my thumb again, kind of measure things out. How tall? Huh?
Are you doing the cactus in the background?
No. We're just singling out objects here. Yeah. We're just focusing on saguaro plant life, so it's kind of cool seeing how things change. So I can kind of measure it out, and looks like that piece up there is maybe a bit smaller than halfway. So maybe if I did that big line here, I always start with a line and know where it starts and ends. I always have a dot where I want it to stop, a dot where it ends. So that way you never have your thing going off the page. If that's a problem that you have, this is your solution. Have that dot, very first thing. Where is it going to start? Where is it going to stop? Then I like to find that middle point. What's happening in the middle area? Luckily for this plant here, that little weird looking thing in the very top, that's kind of in the middle, but it's also a little bit above the middle. So I can just kind of go a little bit above the middle there. Maybe I need to sharpen my pencil here. Sorry. I got a secret blade in my colored pencil. Okay.
No, I landed up in the emergency room with a barrel cactus.
Oh my gosh, really?
I overwatered it, and so it fell. And then I read if you let it dry out and then you stand it back up. So I got a belt and I pulled it, but I pulled it too far and it just kept going.
Uh-huh.
And those spikes have hooks on them.
Oh
And instantly, like my leg was huge. So I had to go to the hospital and have them take them out. They're poisonous.
my gosh.
Nasty.
Oh my gosh. I wasn't thinking of you when I wanted to do this today. That's, I'm sorry for bringing back some.
Oh, it's my own fault. I should have known, but.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah. Cactuses, it can be painful, but they're so beautiful.
Did they leave any scars or were you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, they got them out.
Oh, the trauma. Anytime you see a cactus now, you'll like, I remember that day.
I don't touch them.
Yeah. All right. So I found that kind of middle point, what's going on in the middle. That also works for figure drawing. If you're ever drawing people, people's faces, finding those middle points, what's going on in the middle area, it could be very helpful. Here, I'm going to turn this off here so you can see a bit better. There we go. So there's that middle, bottom line. All right. So now, again, I'm just going to kind of carve out some of these angles here. Maybe, so just straight lines here. And now when I have this kind of ball shape here, it's kind of like a vase. We've done vases before. We've done those cylindrical shapes, those balls. So I can kind of start things off with maybe that middle line. You know, I have that middle line there. It's kind of at that angle. You can use your pencil to see that angle there. Have that line going out. Draw here and here. And then kind of get some of those angles in there. And once I have those sharp and straight angles, then I can start drawing in some of those softer lines in there. I can kind of fix things up. So, you know, if things don't come out perfect right away, as long as you drew it out lightly first or with a thinner line first before you go for the thick line, all those things basically do the same thing. You can kind of correct some stuff. You can make things a bit more round and try to get those one sweep angles. That's the best thing you can do. You don't want to do the whole cross. Just kind of, you can kind of hover your line, practice a little bit, and then you're like, all right, I'm going for it. Some things you can practice if you want to. You kind of draw a few dots, like 3 dots. This is kind of in your own free time, but you can kind of try to make that a nice smooth line there. See, I can't even do it. But that's something you can do in your own free time, you know? Just to kind of hone in on some of your lines. So if you're having a lot of these kind of cross things here, that can be a style and it can create a lot of anxiety. It can give a feeling. Maybe if you want to do some Halloween kind of stuff, like use those cross hatches because you try to draw a happy face with those. I don't know, it looks a little fuzzy, but it also looks a little scary. I don't know. Maybe it's fuzzy. Maybe it's fuzzy. I don't know. It's just a different vibe. I'm trying to make things clean and straight, but sometimes interesting is better, you know? So anyways. All right, so I have the shape of this inner object here, starting off skinny. Just gonna do those straight lines first. And, don't be afraid to, have these big jagged things. If you're using pencil, you could erase these, but I I like showing my history of things. I like showing the scratchiness, and I think whenever I see drawings, I want to see that stuff. I think it tells a bit of a history there, but everyone's different. So if you don't like seeing those, pencils good to erase all that. All right, cool, like it. And again, I'm seeing a little ball at the top here. It's like a little fuzzy looking thing, but I'll get into this later on. All right, at the very top here, I see a few little creases. So similar idea as the last ones, start with those big shapes, and then you want to get into the details. You never want to jump right into the details right when you're starting. Problems can happen if you're focusing on details first thing. All right, so I'm gonna kind of mark some areas where I might see the needles here. So it's one kind of right in the middle there. Again, starting middle, you can find middles of things pretty easy. At least I can. Find the middle there. Yeah, this is all. This should be on the Pinterest. Is it on the Pinterest? The class Pinterest?
Okay.
I just want to make sure. Is it?
I didn't open it.
Yeah, they're on.
Oh, this one might not be.
They're on. I
All right.
think this one is, but the rest are on.
Okay, this one I made sure it is. Okay, cool. Cool. A little. I kind of do want to add some of the little spikes in there that is just kind of nestled into. All right, so I kind of have these little spots here where I know that the spikes all kind of come out from. I mean, if I was painting it, I would be focusing on the red first, and then I'd focus on the spikes afterwards. But since we're drawing it, now to get these kind of little spiky points here, I start with most pressure here, and I kind of swipe my brush up and away, or my pencil up and away. So I'm kind of making that movement here. So I'll do that with each of these boys. Trying to replicate what I see. See if there's any groups or anything that you can kind of point out here. This one kind of pops out here. And I can kind of see some movement. Sometimes I like to connect the dots and just try to see some patterns. And when I do, I'm like, "Ooh, there's a pattern." So that way I just don't really lose what I see, what's in front of me. So maybe this is more down here. Again, I'm paying attention to those angles. Connect the dots. See where they go. Look at those angles. Cool. And I'm just gonna go and draw in just that light shadow. Again, you can see kind of that shadow it doesn't quite do this straight line right down the center. It's not like a balloon or a ball. It's kind of got this little bumpiness to it. Here we go. So that's just going to be kind of the line for what's going to be in the shadow and what's in the. Okay, cool. All right, and now I'll kind of throw in some needles here. I do kind of want to get a little bit of needles. You know what? I'm just gonna get a real nice light shadowy color here. I like to work with what my wrist will naturally do. So sometimes I'll turn my paper. I'll just do that. Okay. Mhm. Now up here, I'm just going to kind of draw out some of these little, it looks like there's like little balls of fluff. And then there's like these wrinkly, I think these used to be the nodes.
Yes, and then it just shriveled and died.
Uh-huh. And then right below it, the fruit
The fruit.
pops up.
Yep.
Oh, I thought that was
Crazy.
like a flower.
Wild.
It looks like the first one that we drew, except
Yeah,
shriveled
now
and
it's
dead.
shriveled. Yeah, so there's the white part of the flower up here. So this is all shriveled, like white area where the flower used to be. And now below it, that's where all the
The
fuzz.
stem ones, I guess.
Yeah. I think we can keep it zoomed in, yeah. Anyone need the red flower fruit of it? No? Anyone? I think we're good. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna kind of draw in some circles here where I see the fluff in there. Maybe I'll start in the center here. There's 3. 1, 2, 3. It's good to count. It really is. I like counting. Whenever I'm painting or drawing something that I'm like specifically trying to do, like a study, like this is, I would consider a study. Drawing studies like this will just grow what you call your own visual vocabulary. So kind of playing around with some of these textures and stuff, you have a vocabulary, right? We all know words. We learn new words every day. Well, this is our way of learning new images. This is our way of learning how things look and how things act and how things grow. And with that knowledge, you can do some really crazy stuff. And there's some artists who make fashion because of this kind of studious work, or they create abstract artworks, or illustrations or stories, you know. So yeah. Anyway. Okay. So I'm just kind of noticing again those angles, because I have this book, and basically says that everything kind of grows in spirals. So you can kind of start seeing some spirals happening with some of these leaves. Now, some of them aren't terribly perfect, but they all kind of spiral up. And you can kind of see some of them kind of growing here, here, here. And what I like to do is, you have that big shape here, and I just start carving the sky from it. So look at this. You got this big triangle kind of carved in. You have that line there. So I'm just going to carve out that sky kind of triangle in here. And that's going to make things a lot simpler. See that? Kind of what I'm seeing here. I'm just going to make this really dark. And I'm just thinking silhouette here. Silhouette's going to kind of stop to the side here. There we go. All right, cool. And kind of focusing on these little balls that are white. I'm just gonna kind of add a little bits of dots and fuzz, kind of like I did with the flowers earlier. All right. And I know that everything over here, kind of deep in shadow. Just kind of think about those valleys, look for those valleys. I see a big wiggle over here in this area. And that's important to me. Kind of pay attention to a few pieces here that are just kind of important. This little area here, there's like a section here. Gonna break it down in sections. So this kind of area here, I'm seeing a lot of like kind of lines. There's a big one here. Here. There's a big wiggle here, kind of curve out here. Where are those valleys at? Okay. Yeah, I'm just thinking valleys. That's all I'm thinking. Is that helping anybody? Is anyone
Yeah.
thinking valleys? Yeah.
There's something that-
Cool.
The same thing with carving out space.
Yeah. It's just really like carving. It's like cutting it out. You know, you got to think of that kind of opposite.
Would you say cutting, like carving out a negative space or? cutting
Yeah,
out-
definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. A lot of like natural objects, you kind of want to like you'll see things kind of building up with a lot of circles, but then you also see things kind of carving out with circles going outward as well. So whenever I look at bones, for instance, you know, it's like you have like a femur here, right? But the femur goes in, you know. So it's like you have those shapes of the circles in that bone of the femur. But then it goes like in. This happens in nature a lot, huh?
Looks like a bustier.
Oh, get out of here! No, it's a bone. Okay, I'm gonna draw it. I gotta. Oh gosh, you guys. It's a bone. It's a knee. I'll get another bone over here. I mean, it's in nature, you know that it's kind of nature. There. Now it's a bone. It makes sense. But you can see like things get carved out just as they do, just as like they are in. And I'm thinking that when I'm doing some of these like little wiggly leaves and stuff here. Okay. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. So I'm kind of looking for these big areas of shadow so that I can kind of show off some of these little fuzzy things in there. And again, just like I said before, you can see in here where that light and that shadow meet up. That's where we see those textures happen. So I'm going to let those really shine there. Yes, that's looking better. Hello. Okay. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Very top here, you get some of those kind of shadows.
Well, what do you think of like
Mhm.
when an artist, like it takes them, like they work on a painting for years. and
Yeah,
To stare at it and then they'll do a quick brush stroke.
Right.
They'll stare at it and then they'll erase the brush stroke they did and kind of,
yeah. I have a student who does that. It's cool.
do you ever get anywhere with that or is it does it ever produce a better?
Um,
a better art?
I think having a daily practice, even if it's one brush stroke, is more important than doing a magnificent piece once a month.
Got it.
I think so. So for that artist, just to show up, do that one stroke, call it a day. It's a good artistic practice.
But it's, I think she's been working on it for almost 10 years and most of it's empty and everything she does, she erases, she whites over the next day and
Yeah, as long as she's happy doing it. If this is something where she's just filled with doubt in her mind and that she's like, oh, this is terrible, I can't do this anymore, but then she keeps going back to kind of torture herself in a way, I don't know.
like putting flowers, like the chrysanthemums in and then taking them out and
Yeah.
putting them back in.
Yeah, it's a different way of working. I'm much more along the lines of get it done with, learn your lesson, and move on. I think that's just a more enjoyable way of working. I mean, you can kind of see potters. Look at potters, for instance, like people who create on the wheel, like on the spinning wheels, like they'll go through like 100 coffee mugs before they finally are able to do it well enough professionally. They throw out a lot of coffee mugs. And that's the kind of that's the best way of working as an artist. And the more you do that, the more you're fearless of creating something messy because who cares? I'm gonna make another one after this.
Yeah.
But if your practice is filled with fear, that's not a good practice.
Yeah.
So you want to live fearlessly with your practice. Be willing to make those mistakes. Be willing to experiment, get messy. It's so important as an artist. So if that's all they can do for that day, and that's what they feel when they do it, that one brush stroke they've been thinking about it. How are they going to do it? Are they going to do it while they're dancing? Are they going to do it thinking about something? You know, are they thinking about that one specific color that they brushed down? You know, you can do that. You can spend all day thinking.
Yeah.
And that's a good artistic practice and that's enjoyable. I did a series This was for Inktober. I don't know if you guys remember that. I don't know if it's still a thing, but there's a thing called Inktober, and on Instagram, it was very popular. And a bunch of artists would work in pen and ink, like micron markers and stuff, and they would just do these hyper intricate, huge drawings that I would imagine took them hours. And at the time, I was working a job that was just took all my time. By the time I got home, I only had this amount of time to work on my artwork.
Yeah.
So what I decided to do was I don't have to be drawing the whole day, but how I'm going to be using that one line is going to be my creative practice, and I'm going to think about that all day. I'm going to be working on that all day. So I just think and think and think, and that's me creating. And then when I got home, I would do one of my ink drawings, which were always performative. I had one where I strapped a Sharpie marker to a 20-pound weight, threw it onto a piece of paper.
Oh,
That was so much fun. I had one where I had a piece of paper across the lawn, and I had like 20 Sharpies, and I just threw all of them at it across the lawn. I had another one where, I was listening to a guy on a roller coaster, and I was imagining what that line was doing while I was going, whoa, whoa." We could do that. You guys want to do that?
yeah, that's good.
It'd be kind of fun. But yeah, so how you do it doesn't necessarily mean if you be drawn the whole time, you know, it doesn't matter so much. Yeah. So yeah.
So you're used to doing it like in a classroom setting where you have deadlines, you have to finish your project, or you can't stay in the class because you're failing. So I'm used to having deadlines so that you prove that you've learned something, or they'll give you an assignment and then you do it. And
Right.
you have it done by.
Yeah.
But I almost think that's better because she's filled with doubt. Or there's this other guy that I honestly don't think he can paint. He's just in one of the classes, but he carries around the same painting with him. Or I think he's got two of them that look almost the same. And he'll stare it, and then he'll put one dot, like one mark on it, and then he'll walk away and he's done. And
Yeah.
he goes to all the classes and he just one mark, and I don't think he knows how to paint because you've never seen him do anything.
Yeah,
like that.
I think
He critiques everybody.
I think there's also been a study where a class there's I think it's like an MFA program somewhere. Somebody told me this story. They might be in this class. They probably told me. No, I remember who it was. She's not here. Wonder how she's doing. Anyways, so it's like MFA program. There's two groups of students. They asked one group of students, I want you guys to create as many artworks as you possibly can in a series. Okay? And that's going to be your project for the MFA program. And then the other group, same class, same amount of time, you guys are going to make one masterpiece. And then we'll grade those. And they found at the end of the semester or years that the people who did the most amount of artworks had the most amount of growth and had the best artwork pieces versus the people who did those one masterpieces. At least that was their own opinions. But I mean, it seemed unanimous. At least that's the story, and that's how it goes. So I'm all for just crank something out or a series. Try it out. Move on.
I like your advice about like when I was just learning,
Mhm.
So okay, that painting's okay,
Mhm.
just finish it and then do it again.
Yeah.
And maybe by the third time, like suddenly you know what you're doing. If that makes sense.
Right.
Like the mistakes that you made earlier, you kind of corrected and.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go take a break, guys. Get up, walk around. Yeah, I'll zoom this out. We'll be on break, so if you want to stick around, you can finish this. But we'll we'll do a painting after this. Yeah, I think we'll do the fun painting. We'll do the fun painting for sure, just to wake us back up. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. But we'll be back. Let's say 15 minutes. We'll be back at 3:05. Walk around, get some sun. It's a beautiful day. Some fresh air. It's important to get up and around. I hate sitting when I'm painting. So this is class.
Chairs are kind of, they hurt, like they hurt after a while.
Yeah.
Less cushion.
Yeah. So, all right.
I painted my stuff from there's that board.
Okie dokie. We are back. Back again. All right. Okay. Let's see here. Do we want to do that one? Do we want to do this one? I think this would be good.
All I need is the term.
Oh, spring 2026. Okay. Alrighty, cool. Yeah, thank you so much.
But you don't need to send us anything to do the YouTube, right? You just
Yeah, so YouTube and
go on.
Pinterest. So for those who are new in the class, I can get you the Pinterest QR code. So if you have your phone out, I'll get you a QR code here, so you guys can just scan it and follow it.
That's what you put on there? What are we?
Right, yeah. So in the class, I have a Pinterest where I put all of the reference for painting and drawing in our class. So everything that we drew today, that's going to be on the Pinterest. So you can look at old Pinterest pictures that we used for the last classes, but we also have it for future classes. Here it is. I'll just share that. So you just kind of show your phone this, and then a little pop-up will happen, and you click on the pop-up, and it's going to take you to Pinterest. You do need to have an account with Pinterest, so just show it to the screen there, and you'll see a little pop-up happen. You don't need to be too close. Your phone should pick it up right away. There it is. And so that'll take you to Pinterest. You do need to have an account on Pinterest, but it's an amazing app, and a lot of artists use it. So you can get all sorts of help and references.
So every time I go back, how do I get back on this? It just would go back to Pinterest? How do I, after I've used the code and stuff, where?
Right. So yeah. So that's the Pinterest, and you can pin it. You can follow that pin.
How do you pin it?
Let me see.
I'm not a computer person. I don't know how to do any of this stuff.
So at the very top, I think the 3 bars follow. Cool. And then you'll be able to find it again. But every time I start the class, I send a link.
Okay, so I'm not getting the email, but to do YouTube, I just go on YouTube now?
Yeah.
And then I would just put in your
Doing art good.
thingy? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I.
Yeah. It's all public.
So what I miss one, and then see it.
Right.
YouTube, what do you do? Doing art good?
Doing art good. It's funny
So you
sounding.
Go on YouTube and put in doing art. I forget what it
All right. I don't know about you guys, but I think this bird and these flowers looks like a fun
Doing art
painting.
What? It's YouTube and then you go on doing art good
He kind of reminds me of Phil the Phoenix.
and then look up his name.
Okay.
Actually, I just put his name in and it showed me his YouTube channel.
You go to YouTube on your phone and then put in his name.
No, I did it on my TV.
Are we drawing or painting this?
We're gonna paint. So yeah. Beautiful. All right, so this is gonna be fun. This will be our painting here. Now, those you could either follow. Now, I'll let you guys have 2 options here. You could either 1, follow along, or 2, fun paint. You can just kind of creatively paint it on your own. What are we feeling? Huh?
Follow along. so
Follow
we
along.
do it really well.
Follow along. Okay. Fun paint. All right. So those who want to fun paint, feel free.
What's the
Be
name?
creative with it. You're welcome to use different colors.
Is that the big-
If you want to get creative with the colors like we did last week, I think I'll just go ahead and use original colors here. But I am gonna do an underpainting.
Is that the one? That's what
Hmm.
you're gonna do?
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Oh, no.
We're gonna simplify it a little bit, so it won't be too difficult. This is a great reference here. So have this open. If you guys want to have this open on your phone, you can scan it here when you're ready. You don't have to get up. Your phone is very good at capturing QR codes. So if you want to have it on your phone, scan that now.
It's got pinning.com.
It should be just the image. This is also on the Pinterest. So
It also is getting to know where to go because now if I go to Pinterest, it goes to her stuff.
yeah,
It's like, okay, you're always going there.
yeah, that's cool. I also I'll do stuff in class, so it's very up to date. You know, anytime that I add anything, it'll be the first thing on the top of your list if you're following me. So.
It is easy to take a picture of those.
Of the QR codes? Yeah, your phone should be able to pick it out really easily.
Where do I find it now?
Just zoom.
Yeah, you can zoom. You can use your camera, zoom, and then once you have a little pop-up, click on the pop-up. Yep. They have these at restaurants all the time. So.
Are these gonna be in your saved photos? I don't know how to pull them up again.
Okay. Well, I'll have it open anyways if you just want to use the screen, but all right, let's get through it.
Nice and big. Okay.
Okay. Alrighty. Here we go. All right, cool. Good stuff. So we're gonna be painting with a good amount of gouache here. So today I really want to paint pretty opaquely. So we're gonna have some fun, a little less like watercolor than usual. All right. Just want to make sure you can see everything that I'm doing here. Okay. Cool. Alrighty. I need to refill my whites. I'm so low. I'm gonna use my nice white. Fancy colors. So we'll go ahead and start things off.
How'd you get that? Did you go on YouTube?
Yeah, she's watching it live. So I'm gonna get a big brush. Okay. Big. I get a big brush. This will work too. This basically has the same amount of spread. You can kind of see. So this is about 1.5 inches. Yeah. I'm just gonna use squares today. I'm just gonna use a lot of square brushes. Then I'm gonna have a little brush here. This is a 1/2 inch. So 1.5 inches, 1/2 inch, or anything close to it. And of course I'll have a little detail brush, a little line brush. Ooh, whistle. There we go. A little line brush. Cool. That's all we need today. Real simple. If you don't have something this big, something like this might work, but you want to use something bigger because we're gonna do a whole underpainting here.
Can I use a capstone or another one like this? Or?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. If you kind of look at these brushes, tilt them a little bit to the side here, and you can see how much surface area that is. It's about the same as that big brush there. So
Mop brush?
yeah, mop brush is okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my medium brush here. I'm gonna kind of use this as a palette knife. If you have a palette knife, you definitely use that. But I'm gonna start things off with a little bit of an underpainting here. So I'm gonna get. I need also a water spritzer. Make sure you spritz your paints every couple minutes, especially when you first start. I would spritz it. If you're painting outdoors, spritz it all the time. I'm gonna kind of. I think I'll be good. So I'm gonna get my. This is burnt sienna. It's very reddish brown, very light brown here. Just gonna scoop that in. And I'm also gonna get just a little bit off from the side of this warm yellow here. Together, that's gonna make kind of this golden yellow kind of color here. Yeah, I'm gonna get my big brush here. And a good amount of water. So, if you just have that brown with the warmest yellow you got, it could be a yellow ochre. That would be fine too. But you don't want to use a lemon yellow. You don't want to use that sort of thing here. Get a good amount of water. I'm gonna mix a lot of this.
Yeah, this is lemon yellow.
Okay. Yeah, I would use the yellow ochre, I think, for the median. I think you have yellow ochre. It's like a very rustic yellow.
Mustard color,
Yeah, mustard yellow. That'll work.
yellow, ochre, and this one's,
Yeah, yellow ochre and burnt sienna. Or
this is burnt umber.
that's fine. That'll be fine. All right, so I'm gonna get a good amount of water here. And I'm just gonna try to cover up this whole thing. And I made a big puddle here because this is gonna take a big area. So you want to plan for that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of wash this down here. This is real light, really thin, very watery. Not too watery. Maybe this is. I always kind of like to go up, down, right, left, right, left. Have that paper towel ready, just in case you get it too wet here. Looks like I kind of got that sweet spot. But if you see it puddling off to the sides, you can definitely get that paper towel, kind of wipe it down a little bit. Yeah, it's a good kind of color. I'll show you in person so you can kind of see what it looks like. See that? So if you have that burnt umber, maybe a little less brown, more of that yellow ochre. Okay, good. That's all good.
And if you don't have burnt umber,
Um,
add a little red.
Yeah, not a bad idea. I mean, I've seen people do. This is what you consider an underpainting. So what an underpainting can do for you is it can help you disguise any parts that may have the paper coming through in your painting. And it might also create some really cool little edges in your painting. So yeah. Okay.
Did you want us to add a little red to this color or?
The burnt sienna I have, maybe I think it's okay. It's okay. It's just to disguise the paper. If yours is a little more orange, a little more brown, you know, I just wouldn't want it to be dark. If it feels like a walnut kind of wood, that kind of deep dark brown, then I would say definitely either one, water it down, or yeah, you just want it. This is a good tone. It's just a good tone to work on. Okay.
That's a really pretty color.
Yeah, I like it.
Like a dark coral.
Uh
Should have saved my paper first.
huh. It'll dry. It'll go back down. But yeah, if it's too wet, get that paper towel. Just run it through real quick, and you'll be good. Alrighty. I'm just gonna go. So I'm gonna start things off. And I'm gonna go ahead and kind of block things in. This is what you call blocking in. So well, not quite blocking things in, but I mean we will eventually. But so I'm gonna get my small brush here, good amount of water, and I'm just gonna get that brown again, and I'm gonna kind of bring it over here, and I want it to flow really nice and free. This is just the pure brown now, so it's gonna be a bit darker, and this is gonna be kind of under the painting here. So again, you want to think about
Is that just a burnt sienna by
Just burnt
itself, or
sienna
Yep.
or with
Yes.
something else?
no, just burnt sienna. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and start here, just like we did in our drawings here. Oh, it's some water too. Okay, cool. So I'll kind of cut up my scene here. So I know that this paper is pretty long. So I'm just gonna kind of cut this up into thirds. So it can kind of measure out first thing the big shapes. What are the big shapes in this picture?
The bird.
The bird, yes. One big shape. What else?
flowers and cactus?
The flowers and the cactus.
And
Yeah.
then the negative space is sky.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, so I'll kind of measure that in, and you can elaborate certain things if you want to have more focus on the bird or if you want to have more focus on the plants. I like to play around with scale. It's beautiful. Scale is the kind of the proportion between things. So, I don't know. I'm not one for too much precision. So I kind of like to say that's going to be how big my bird's going to be. And then I can kind of get those big angles just like I did before, finding with those flowers. So just straight lines. You can always use your brush here. Look at those angles. See how they ride. See how they see how they go here. Yeah. There we go. Cool. Pretty happy with that. Maybe I'll kind of carve down. So, good stuff. And for the bird, I'm going to start with the bird because he's kind of behind all the flowers there. So I can kind of paint some of the flowers on top of the bird later. So I'm kind of thinking in terms of layers here. So it's kind of like, you ever seen a play in real life where they have like the building, they have the sky, and then they have the buildings in front, and then they have like the doors and the windows, and then they have the actors walking out in front and everything. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So what's our further background? Anybody?
Sky.
Got the sky. All right, what's next?
On the dark green, on the cactus on the right side, yeah.
I would say the bird. The bird's behind the cactus. It's like the cactus is on top of it, but yeah. And then you have the cactus, like the dark green, you have the shadows here. And then the next layer,
Flower.
the flowers for sure.
The bird look like it's covered with mud or what?
Yeah, it is an interesting color. It's actually pretty close to my underpainting, a little bit. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna start with the bird here, drawing, and I'm gonna start with that main curve that I see that the bird has. So I just kind of see this curve happening there, and you can kind of elaborate on it or not. And just like that vase that we talked about kind of earlier, I can kind of draw the circle head in there. And I can also kind of carve it out with the straight angles here. Look at those angles. Okay. Straight lines. All of this will be painted out anyways, so, cool. Then I can kind of start drawing in some minor details here. Okie dokie. Up and over. Okay. And it doesn't have to be perfect. This is under the painting here. So I know that my bird looks a little messed up now, but I'm gonna kind of take some notes. Maybe I think the head is a bit too big. You can kind of measure things out. That head is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, this is not far off. Could be a bit smaller, but I'm just gonna kind of take some notes, and then I'm also gonna kind of draw down some lines that I see happening. So this bird might be a little plain, but you can see the line between that light and the shadow. I'm gonna draw that down. That's gonna be for my own reference later. And a line for shadow here. Okay. So those eyes, good. Cool. I think maybe the legs could be a little lower. Could be a bit chubbier, maybe. All right, looks good. All right. So when I paint on top of this, the paint's gonna be much more opaque, and it's gonna cover up any of your mistakes. But you can kind of take mental notes now. I'm gonna go ahead and start, and I'll block in some of the shapes that I see for the flowers here. Now, I could draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 flowers, but maybe it's good to kind of connect those dots. See that? When you connect the dots, I kind of see a big old triangle or something. Or maybe because I'm hungry, I see pizza.
It could be deviled eggs in the middle.
Stop, I'm so hungry. But that sounds good. I love eggs. I'm running out at home. But I can kind of get that big line where I can connect those dots in there. And then kind of do that big shape there. It's like the number 7 or something. And then over here, you got those 3 flowers over here. which also is kind of a bit of a shape here. Connect those dots, draw it out. You can do the straight lines too. Straight lines are easier than curves. Cool. So once I have that drawn down, then I can start kind of taking some notes here. Maybe I'll have a flower here. Add that line in there. All right. Oh, maybe I'll start down here because. Okay, so. And sometimes I'll see kind of like little deviations. You know, I had that connected dot there, but maybe instead of it being so straightforward, sometimes things are a little off to the side. All right.
You're going fast.
Sorry about that. So I had that 7 where that I had that kind of connected dot there. You can kind of see it in the picture, right? Is that the number 7? And then I just kind of started to just draw the bigger shapes of the ovals, which I just use straight lines here to kind of, because they're closer to kind of, some of these are more ovally, like these ones down here very circle-y. But I like using straight lines, just a bit more control, kind of alter things as you go. Okay. Cool. All right. Now, just to make my life easier, this whole area over here, this is just mostly in shadow here. So I'm just gonna kind of focus on the silhouette of it all, meaning kind of what's going on with this whole shape rather than focusing on each individual plant. And I noticed that in this shadow area, there's only maybe one plant that is in sunlight. So maybe I'll just try to show that one shape that is in the light. And then the rest I just kind of know is going to be in the shadows. And I could draw some scribbly so that I can kind of know for myself. But yeah. And then down here, I always like to pay attention to, you know, what's kind of standing out to me. So I have that little guy popping out there. But I'm going to really pay attention to the shadow underneath it. I'm going to kind of draw that out there. What's the shape of that shadow? Just block out that shadow shape. Don't even see it as flowers. Don't even try to think of it as, you know, individual flowers. Just see those shapes. This is all a single shape here. We're just drawing shapes here. It's just super pretty abstract. And maybe down here, I don't even know what's going on. So maybe I'll just plan on everything being down here, dark, dark. There's a shadow over here. Thin line there. Flower is actually bigger, so maybe I'll make some corrections. Okay. Okay, so it's looking good. I'm just gonna kind of sketch this part in here. Now down here, it doesn't really matter. No one's gonna pay too much attention to it. Now, an important thing to remember for detail is that only about 20% of it really matters. Sounds crazy, but there's a rule. It's called the 80-20 rule, where you, out of the 100% of your painting, really only hone in on the 20% that really counts. And that can go with the whole thing. So, like, for instance, in this whole picture, who's the star of the show? The bird and the flowers. Maybe a few of these flowers in particular might be kind of some stars of the show. So that's about 20% of the painting. It's the bird. But of the bird, only 20% really matters. So that's probably the head. You know, of all the flowers, only 20% matters. It's not the greenery, but it might be the colors of the glow. So, all right, cool. Should we get to some colors here? Let's get some colors going. We're gonna start with this blue sky here. So I'm gonna kind of scoop out some of this blue here. I like this turquoisey kind of blue. And I'm gonna get some of this ultramarine blue, this real deep blue here, out and ready to go onto my palette here. You can also put it in these little wells, but I obviously don't use it as much as I probably should. And of course, we'll be using some white too. Since I'm using my big brush here, I'm scooping it out with a small brush. Palette knives are better, most ideal. I would recommend getting some. I don't know why I didn't tell you guys to. Yeah, so that deep blue and that light blue and a bit of white. Yeah. The turquoise makes the best sky blue. It might also be called phthalo blue, but I always like to find that kind of middle ground, depending on what kind of day it is. And I also want you guys to have a very important tool, and that is a little scrap piece of paper.
And white? Do we need white?
Yes, definitely. And we also want to have a scrap piece of paper. So this is where you can kind of check your color. So I'm gonna wash my brush real good. Rinse it.
I just hate wasting a good watercolor paper.
Nothing's a waste if you're using it. It's only a waste if you don't use it. And that's why I have this kind of painting where this was just me trying things out. So this is a good point where I can kind of test some colors here. It's just scrappy. This is not a waste. This is a very important tool.
What size brush are you using?
I'm using large right now just because it's for a really large area. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you need a big brush?
I'm using a big brush. Yeah. So I'm gonna get a little bit of this cleaner water. I have 2 waters. For those who are new, I like to have one for dirty and one for clean, one for rinsing. But also the rinsing water is good for watering down our paints. But I'm gonna get some of this blue here. See how this turquoisey blue is speaking to me. We're gonna mix a lot here. It's gonna mix too much. This-
More ultramarine.
Well, let's test it out. I'm gonna go ahead swipe it on my little paper here.
Now, is that just the pure one or do you have any other colors?
That's just pure. So I'm just gonna kind of see where I'm at with this. And I think it needs a bit of this ultramarine blue, just a little bit. Ooh, fun. We should have music going. All right, but here we go. There we are. Maybe a little bit of white. Or- All right, I think I kind of got the sweet spot here. Let's see.
Are we doing a wash?
Uh,
A light-
no wash. We're working pretty opaquely, so
Okay. More things.
yeah, more paint. We're really using paint today.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't worry. It's a small painting, so okay. So it's not too much. There we go. How's that looking? More white, maybe. All right. Cool. I think that's pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint in the sky here. And when I paint the sky in, I can kind of paint on top of make sure that your paper is dry. But let me kind of paint into some of these objects that we have here. So kind of cross into some of this stuff. We can always paint on top of the blue. But I'm just gonna kind of leave some of the stuff here. Maybe I'll get some more of this deep blue in there. Maybe I think I need more of this paint. Okay. This is so silly. You know, I think one of the best things to do when you start in a painting is to look at your paper, to know that it is not precious. It is just paper. It is not gold. So treat it with no respect. No respect. This is your, and the less respect you treat it with, at least starting out a painting, the better your painting.
Is it the same one with paints or no?
With paints?
Paints.
What kind of paint? Oh, paints?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's something I need to get out of my head for sure. Ooh, bit of that white. I like a bit of that white. Maybe I'll just throw in some white right on top. So, you know, you can always make adjustments. You can make artist. This is where fun happens in your painting, where you kind of be like, oh, well, oh, and I'm also looking for little holes. where the sun kind of peeks out here. Throwing in some, whoa! Throwing in some of this white here. Gosh, I love that dry gouache texture you have here. Sometimes I let that brown kind of poke through. I need to use more paint. I'm being so stingy. Cool. So I threw some white on top of there just to kind of brighten it up a bit. I like it. Oh boy. We'll probably end up finishing this next week.
2 weeks. Somebody will show up. We didn't show up today.
Yeah. All right, we'll start from the beginning.
I think a bunch of them will probably show up.
Oh man. Yeah, in 2 weeks, Hopefully nobody shows up next week.
It's like they will. It's just
Yeah. I'll be sure to throw out an email.
Maybe next month we share.
Okay.
Next week.
Liking it so far. So when we're working with neutral colors, such as this bird here, you can, I always like to kind of start with a gray and start with a gray that's the closest to it. And then you can add in flavor to that gray, depending on what that gray is all about, And in this case, this bird is a very warm gray. It's got some like peach to it. It's got some yellow to it. I mean, I'm even seeing some areas where it's got some blue to it, because of that sky. Because you want to think about everything's in a dome right now, right? There's gonna be that constant blue all around everything. So anytime you have shadows, that's gonna have a lot of blue in it. So I'm gonna start things off with this bird, just kind of getting a general color of kind of what I want to see all the way around it, and then I'm gonna focus on the shadows, dark shadows, and then we'll do the lights, and then we'll probably call it a day. We'll do the flowers and stuff next week. All right.
So what colors are they?
So let's find a gray. All right. Gray, we know the colors of gray. Is white and black. Or if you want to be fancy with it, that's ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. I see some burnt sienna here. Might as well make my own gray here. Yeah, I like that gray. It's a really pretty gray. And what's good about this is that you can make it warmer or cooler too.
so what is that again?
This is burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. It's one of our first mixtures that we did in this class. Here we go. So it's that warm orangey brown with that deep shadowy blue. And then adding a bit of white to it. All right. And any other kind of flavor it needs. I think it needs a little bit of yellow. There we go. A little bit of yellow. Yeah. I think that's pretty good. And I can test it out. Put on my little swap thing. Oh, it's really dark. I can already tell. So let me get some white in there, even more white.
The yellow, is it the lemon yellow or the golden yellow?
Oh, the warm yellow. Very warm yellow. Okay, let's test that out. That's looking pretty good. See, I was about to use that gray. It would have been way too dark. That's why it's so important for you to have this little swatch thing, just to correct you. Can't keep you on track. There we go. So I'm just gonna go ahead and paint this kind of silhouette here. And maybe I'll kind of draw up. And I'll kind of stop where I see the shadow starting. I'm gonna kind of avoid the eyeball here. And I can keep those hard angles, very stylized angles, or I can kind of smooth them out. I'm just gonna use that medium brush. Can use the edge there, the medium brush. Good stuff. And I'll go to add those legs in there. Okay, cool. Now for the shadows, I'm gonna make another little. How's that look? I think that looks pretty good. I think that's a good shadow color. So I'm just gonna focus on that one line shadow. There we go. Oh, I feel like it could be darker. Let's make it darker.
Like a dark gray?
Yeah, I'm gonna get some. Maybe I'll get a bit more blue in there. Maybe a bit of black and white, you know? Get it even darker with that black. As long as it's got that flavor to it, it'll be all right. I'm gonna get a bit more blue. Maybe that turquoise blue. Turquoise blue and that black. Yeah, that looks. I think this will be better. There we go. That looks better. Okay. Okay, looking good. All right. I might get that small brush now. For that eyeball. Or no.
Eyeball.
Yeah, no, I'm jumping ahead of things. Okay. I'll get that medium brush again. And I'm going to get some more highlight on the side of this bird. I know that it's dry. So that's kind of important here. And I see here, I have that hard edge here, which stylish, I think. But you could get that water here. And you can kind of kind of blend it all together there. Okay. And then to get that main highlight, I can get kind of a glow shining on here. So it always starts out a little murky, which is good. And then I'm gonna get some of this, I love this bright orange here. It's like a hot red, bit of this warm yellow. It's like cadmium yellow or marigold yellow, whatever they call it. And we get some white into there. Okay, I'll see you in April. Happy Easter.
What did you just mix?
So this is white, orange, and hot. So I have that, white, the cadmium yellow, and that hot red.
If you don't have cad yellow, just like a golden yellow.
Yeah, golden yellow. It might be called marigold. It might be called sunflower yellow. It's the one that feels warmer. The lemon yellow is kind of this like nuclear reactor yellow. It's very closer to kind of that fresh green, and we'll be using that for the cactus.
So white, yellow, and
White, yellow, and a little bit of red just to get it on that orange spectrum. And I'm gonna kind of tap my brush here, my paper towel a little bit. Let's see. And so that way it's gonna be like a real dry brush here, and I can get some of that highlight in there. And look at that. Now we have this bright highlight here. Okay, I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, see you later.
Bye
Bye.
bye. And I'm getting some of that highlight on that side of that bird there where the sun is really hitting it. That really bright and warm sun. Okay. Cool. So I like using that dry brush for that last layer there. You have to make sure that it's like clean. Almost there. And then I'm just gonna get that real bright white for that wing there. That looks good. Oh, it's coming together. Maybe I get a bit of that gray. Now the thing with this gray here, you know this wing is white, right? But it's in the shadow here. And when it's in that shadow, it's gonna be a darker color. So what we're looking at here is not white. You do not want to put white on there. That's white. That's bright in the sun white. But when it's in the shadow, that color right there is probably just as dark as this gray here. So I'm going to use a lighter gray here. So I'm kind of getting some of this similar color over here, and I'll get it into that really dark area there. There it is. Is that hard to see? And I'll do that also for the undertail there. Again, kind of mixing in some of that gray that I used from earlier. So I kind of always kind of go back to some of these older colors that I use because those colors just kind of mix and mingle all over the place. Yeah. And I'm seeing some issues here because that blue isn't quite doing what I want it to do. So I'm going to get some of that more blue and white here. Fix that up. Ooh, not too much. There we go. Try to follow some of those old brush strokes that I had before. So kind of make it blend in better. There you go. Yeah, it's better. Cool. And then I'm just gonna get that orange for the eye. Call it a day. So maybe I'll get some of that yellow, some of that hot red.
Did you use black for the eye?
I did use black. It was a very deep gray. So I try to avoid using pure black unless it's really in those deep crevices, like between the cactuses, maybe. All those contact shadows. That's the only point where you'll really see that pure black. So refrain from using black. All right, so I'm gonna get some of that orange. Maybe I could get it darker using a darker color too. I could use a bit of red if I wanted to. I'm just gonna paint around there. Looks pretty good. And it's got a blue beak actually, so I'm just gonna paint the blue beak. Maybe get a little bit of green in there or something kind of exotic. Okay, using something out of the ordinary here. So I get a bit of green in that blue and then plenty of white. That looks good. Probably want to check that color, see how that compares to the real deal.
What did you do again for the white portion? White and like a peach?
This
That white effect?
with
Yeah.
this here,
No, the one on the wing.
this one,
Yeah, that one.
that's just one swipe. That was just pretty much straight white, and it
Oh,
kind of
straight
fades
white.
out.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's so bright in the sun. That's the only point where I'm going to use pure white. All right, cool. So I see my see you next week or 2 weeks. Okay, cool. All right, let me get some of this darkness here. Okay, what's more of the blue? I'm getting a real dark color here now. Because this beak is really quite dark. But this is where I'm okay with using these super tiny brushes. And this is the point where I think this is gonna be like the only part in the painting where I'm gonna really use this tiny brush. Everything else is that 80% that doesn't quite matter so much, so we can be a little more expressive, have a little more fun. All right, it's looking pretty good. And work on those contact shadows. Some pure black here. Where are those contact shadows at? Maybe underneath this wing here. Ooh. I'm noticing I can really push those dark shadows there. don't know. Yeah. Cool. All right. I don't know if you noticed that, but anytime I want to have some softer edges, I can use my finger to kind of soften up those edges. Or I can also use my brush here right after I lay it in. Make sure it's nice and clean, not too wet, just a little moist or dry. That's what those mop brushes are really good for, kind of softening up those edges, get those good gradients going. Ooh. Oh no. I'm just gonna let it go. All right. I think that's it for today. So we'll do the flowers like beginning of class next week, and then or in 2 weeks, and then free paint. Yeah. Sounds good. All right. Cool. Great job, everybody. I'm gonna start cleaning up. If you want more time to work on this, feel free. But I think that's it for me. That bugs me. That bugs me.
My bird looks bad.
Oh no.
I'll come check it out.
Now I gotta see. Maybe a little less water. The water's probably picking up the orange. So you want to use more paint and less water.
He doesn't email me.
This wash, you use just the smallest amount of water and put it in the water. So you want to use a lot of paint, very little water. It's a little temperamental, but once you understand it, it gets better.
See you next time. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Did you see my bird?
Yes. Yeah, it's looking great. I like it.
He looks like a penguin.
Yeah, he needs a little highlights. He needs a little sun on him, and he'll be good. I'm liking it.
Next time.
Really good blocking. You can't touch his head's about to hit the ceiling.
I didn't give enough room for the sky.
Oh no, it happens. You know,
But
yeah,
it's an exercise. That's what we're doing. We're doing an exercise.
That's right. How are you doing? Oh, it's been a while. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't. You totally have the option. It's a technique that artists do. I think that. Yeah. So usually artists will start with this like underpainting, and it'll create like a unified color. So everything's gonna have a bit of that color underneath it. So it all kind of keeps in that area. So it can create a mood of your painting, but it can also like if you ever painted something really complicated and you have like these little openings and stuff like that, like we have in this one, but it's pretty complicated. Then you might have these little holes between a flower and what's behind it, right? Yeah, so at those points, if you have that little bit of orange peeking through, it's not gonna look bad, it's gonna look nice. So that's what a lot of artists will do. So they'll do some, there's all sorts of underpaintings, and people do fluorescent colors too. Where if that pops out, it's really pretty, people like that. Monet, he used purple a lot, he loved violets and purples.
Oh, you're welcome.
But this one is very,
See, I'm
very,
glad you say.
very classical. They would use it.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you don't like it, like,
Me
okay,
too.
too.
No, I just don't understand.
Yeah.
I want to be able to see it.
Yeah, it's also, it feels good, just to be like, just show that paper through class. How does it? Okay. Awesome. Cool.
So no class
Well,
next
that's
week,
awesome.
because it's spring break. So the next Wednesday, so by then you
So
should
I'm gonna go
get
over
all
next
your
week, but
material.
it's a good little gray in there.
But at least you got to
So
paint
I
today.
basically find that gray, cover those flowers up with it, so it's like that shadowy, kind of bluish gray. And then I would get those highlights of light in there.
So just use the white as a highlight.
Yeah, cause like wash, you can throw in that.
You can throw it in the right way.
And it's gonna look even better.
Okay.
But this is looking great. Love it. Okay, good. No, it's, I think it's a little base. You can definitely go over it again.
Yeah.
With, yeah, it's such a powerful blue. It's like pure pigment. Yeah, it's, sometimes it's good. I don't know. I just was like, I need to teach more. Yeah. Is the screen a little too small there? Can you see what I'm doing? It's really
No, actually, yeah, it's strong, but,
Maybe next week I'll make it a bit bigger.
yeah, yeah, I don't want to go.
Oh, you're good. Okay, good start. Like the blending. Really cool blues, really like that. Worked hard on that, huh? It's, I like the blue. Oh, yeah, that's why you do it on the painting paper. But it's holding up. I would say just stick with this. Oh, blue? You want to glue this on there, or just do it again? I wouldn't stress about it, it's just an exercise. I think it's. Don't start over. Just some little painting. You should focus on your own work.
And they did.
Yeah,
What I used to do, I remember,
yeah, it was, the birthday is good, signature is good, pen's good. So can I see your pen? You can write this here in the first. Alright, that's it. Oh, and then the date.
they stay there.
We're not gonna be doing this again,
Oh,
right?
it's,
The registration,
yeah,
like the third time. Third time is the charm.
and could I just kind of I kind of want to get a vote on things. If you guys could. I'm between teaching for next semester, teaching style, playing around with different art styles and techniques like that.
What do you mean by style?
Style as in cubism, trying out abstract work, trying out stippling, pointillism, trying out all sorts of different styles, art history kind of stuff. And then I also,
Traditional.
yeah, of course, it's all the same materials. We'll still be working with gouache.
No, I mean traditional style versus
Well, that-
realism. I mean, cubism is really way out there.
Yeah. It's super way out there, but it's good to explore those things.
Okay.
And then, but I was also thinking of having a class just teaching portraiture, focusing on just faces, neck, muscles, anatomy. I'll look into some style, some artists working in with their own style. So could I get like a hand? Like just like raise your hand. So for portraiture, like raise your hand. I just want to kind of 1, 2, 3. Okay, and for style, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I get to decide then. All right.
Portrait, you have to be able to draw.
Portraiture is very similar to what we're doing now. I'll go into form and looking at
It's all
each
about the
piece.
proportion.
No,
1/3, 2/3.
it is about proportion, but it's also about form. It's about anatomy. It's about caricature. We could definitely do that. So yeah, I'm actually looking to get a job as a caricature artist. So
Really?
yeah, I have an interview next week. That'd be kind of
But
fun.
you'll still be teaching, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not going nowhere.
Okay.
But yeah. All right. Well, I'll kind of flip a coin and see what it lands on. If anyone has any suggestions, what you'd like to learn, I'd love to know. So
See in 2 weeks, right?
yes, landscapes. Oh yeah. We'll definitely get back to landscapes. I mean, that's like my strength. But I always like to do every semester. It's gonna have a focus. So yeah, we'll definitely get back to landscapes. That's gonna be for. Yeah, we'll get back into that for sure.
Fine.
All right.
Flowers, I like flowers.
Flowers, yes. We're doing that next week or 2 weeks. Stop
In 2
saying that.
weeks, we're doing flowers?
Yeah, we're gonna do the flowers here. Of these flowers here.
Oh, okay.
So we'll paint these. All right, cool. I'm gonna stop
Oh
this
my
one
God, I have
recording.
too much stuff.
That's what I say all the time.
Oh, no, I'm good, thank you.
You can always minimize.
And then there's always something that I wish I brought.
See, that's why I'm like just 12 colors.
Well, look at you. You got a card load.
What? I'm a teacher.
Well, you
A
have
lot of
all
it
the
is
electronic.
electronics, yeah. If I didn't have electronics, it'd be much smaller. You make it happen.
But I never know what I'm gonna need, so I bring everything.
Sketch and paint.
Okay, Bruce,
Yes.
we're gonna do this one more time. I've got it in my book, your email address.
Oh, sure.
And I put it in my thing, and I don't know where it went. I have a feeling my new puppy may have gotten a hold of it.
Cute.
$25.
Yeah, we
That's
lost
that
our
small one,
dog of
this one,
15 years,
$48.
and that was like devastated, and my mom
Yes.
just
So
said, I
this
can't
is
take the
the
house, it's just too
cheaper brand.
quiet. She goes, let's go get another dog. So we went to
Yeah,
the
same
pound.
thing with this. I
Mhm.
bought this in
We
Amazon,
adopted
but
the
this
little
was
guy, and
$48
he's
for
6
12
months old,
Okay.
This is
and
Full of energy.
$25
chewing up everything. He's getting into the trash. It's like, okay. But when I shake my finger and I say no, he stops. So that's good.
Oh, that's really
Already,
good.
yeah.
That's very good.
Okay, so you're gonna send out, do you want my email? Because I'm not getting anything, so.
Right.
That's why the cheaper paper.
Do you need any like websites or anything like that? I
Yeah,
can
I
get you the
do.
QR codes. All right,
Yeah.
bye guys.
I figures too. He kept me up all night and I think he unplugged my phone.
Uh-huh.
So my phone went dead, so I can't take any pictures or nothing right
So
You're gonna be here for like 3 minutes. I
Yes.
just need to pee.
oh, no problem. Yeah, yeah.
Before I forget.
Yeah.
This is for you from the art store. I got.
Oh, cool,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, right. Oh my goodness, this thing's huge.
now. What is it?
It's for washing
Your brushes?
your brushes.
Oh,
It's specifically for oil paints.
oh. I wanted
I'll
to
try
go
it
to
out.
that thing over the weekend. I just
I've
couldn't
never
get there.
actually tried it out. I have one of these. I just
Oh.
never use it.